Well, hello everybody. It's Brother Todd with your Victory Minute, and I hope you guys and gals out there are all having a great day. Sorry I hadn't been out here on internet land or around the church. I don't know if you heard or not, but we had a little old COVID infestation. My mother-in-law and my daughter got it. And of course, my daughter lives right here close to me. And so we thought, well, we better do the safe thing, kind of stay away from folks the end of last week. And sure enough, started feeling bad and just enough to where I was afraid of being around people. So I was gone last Sunday, and kind of as the week went on, they tested me. I was feeling poorly, and first I was negative, but now I'm positive. But other than that, I'm not having any major problems. The only problems I got is everybody shoveling every kind of vitamin and pill and everything down my throat. I got a doctor's visit on the phone here in a minute. But I tell you, a lot of y'all have told me about the fatigue. I'm going to tell you something. Little brother Todd get hot, and I'm going to tell you something. I am wore out. Now, I guess one thing about being in quarantine is ain't nobody says you can't quarantine in a tractor. So I've at least been able to kind of do that and get around a little bit. Excuse me, every now and then I'm going to sneeze and or cough, but I'm doing okay right now. I was thinking about some stuff that's went on this week, and I'm going to be gone this Sunday as well. Mason will be preaching. Boy, he did a good job the other day. And it brought up to my mind three things I've really been thinking about a lot this week. I want to share them with you. One is good intentions. The other is bad excuses. And then the other one is good preaching. Good intentions. I have got a lot of texts from different folks, people checking on me, and I love that and I appreciate it. And a lot of y'all, especially those of y'all in our church and the folks that I know around Kaufman County, it's heard this and that, that's in the, like I say, in the medical field, have sent me lots of good, honest, solid advice. Now, some of y'all, y'all remind me of an old joke we used to tell out here in the country. Old city boy comes to town and he wants to fit in, and he said, knows the farmer's got mules, so he buys a mule and he's gonna go to farming with it, and the mule gets sick. He goes down to the feed store and he's sitting there, he said, my mule's got this and this and this, and one old boy sitting over in the corner said, oh, my mule did that, give him a quart of kerosene, make him drink a quart of kerosene. And so city boy goes home, he makes the mule drink a quart of kerosene. Poor old mule falls over dead as a hammer. Old city boy said, man, what that guy do to me? He goes back to the feed store. He said, hey, I gave him a quart of kerosene and he fell over dead. And old country boy goes, funny thing, same thing happened to my mule. Some of y'all, I'm telling you, I love you to death. Some stuff I've heard, I'm going to tell you now, y'all don't ever think, some of y'all think got a voodoo doll somewhere. But anyway, you know, I guess we all just trying to do as good as we can. But y'all got me, some of y'all got me tickled. Anyway, I think some of it was probably a joke anyhow, but that's the good intentions. Sometimes we got good intentions, but we want to back good intentions with, you know, something that actually makes sense. Number two, I'm thinking about bad excuses. I've been really afflicted about, you know, it's so hard to get people come to church, invite church, even a lot of Christians hanging out, and, you know, don't get me wrong, COVID's a real thing. But I tell you, I watched some ball games this weekend. I never watched TV. And but boy, I was so tired there a few days. I finally had to sit down. College ball game on, 80,000 people in the stands, not a mask inside. I said, well, everybody's tired of COVID. And so what I mean by bad excuses, you know, the two things we got to do as Christians, let's just drop the whole idea of, well, I don't know if I ought to invite people to church. People nervous about COVID and all this. People ain't nervous about anything they want to do. I can guarantee you that. And you don't have to really take that as an excuse nowadays. I mean, somebody's got, you know, extenuating existing medical, you know, conditions. And I'm not trying to be mean, but just be honest. Most people, they're just using it as a convenient excuse. And that's just most people, and that's the world. And lost people always come up with things to keep them in the dark. Jesus said men love the dark rather than light because their deeds are evil. And we all have to be compelled by the call of God and what God does in witness to come out of the dark. I'm not upset about that. But now, I'm talking to you Christians. You can go sit in a ball game. Don't give me this, you can't come to church. Don't give it to me. Now, if you COVID positive like I am right now, well, of course you don't come to church. You ain't feeling good. You've been around somebody who comes into direct contact with it. Amen. Yeah, you lay out a week or two. That's just common sense. God gave us enough sense to make sense. People driving around. I'm sitting out here in the front yard and hiding behind this tractor. thought I knew that guy, but I don't. So anyhow, the you don't use something that is actually one of the worst things that's happened in the world. There's been over 600,000 Americans die of this stuff. And if it's a real thing with you, then you lay out. Don't y'all know I ain't getting on to you if it's something real. All right? You older person, you got serious health stuff, you got no business being in the crowd. But I'm telling you this, if you're not coming to church, but you're dragging your kids around to every birthday party and everything else in the world, don't give me no nonsense. That's just a bad excuse. You know what? If you don't come to church, just don't come to church. That's what I tell people. Just leave your excuse making out. Boy, I just can't stand the excuse. Oh, sun is just all up on Brother Todd's ugly face. Oh, y'all know I ought to read and shoot this, but I ain't. I'm just lazy enough to just move it around and look here. I just darken it that way if I got to. Anyway, it's kind of gotten late. I have spent 1.5 hours getting things set up for a teledoc visit. And thank God we can do it. Don't get me wrong. Woman's going to call me on the phone and FaceTime with me, and I guess she's going to figure out if I look sick enough, give me some kind of medicine or something. Anyhow, well, what was I talking about? I was talking about good intentions. I was talking about bad excuses, and I'm going to talk about good preaching. When I don't preach typically on Sunday morning, my son, who's on staff with us, been our youth pastor for a number of years. In fact, he's headmastering our school right now, just as we begin to rapidly move it forward. He spent his life in education, coaching and in education, and has a master's in business from Liberty, an MBA from Liberty, and he's stepping in there, and he is a phenomenal preacher. He really is. I tell people, if you ever get any good at anything I say, I'm like the guy I'm like the gold prospector that walks out and picks up what's laying on the ground. But Mason's one of them guys that you can really get down to the mother lode. He can really get you down there deep. He preached a message last week, on short notice. I asked him, I said, if you can preach in the series I'm preaching on, I've been preaching out of The Battle Belongs to the Lord, and when old Jonathan and his armor bearer stepped out of that hidden place by themselves and took on the Philistines, and then everybody was encouraged. And you can catch all that stuff online, but and then CDs and stuff. Remember, any CD you need, we send them out free. Most of you just watch it online. But anyhow, it's talking to us older folks. But boy, old Mason will get it down. He's going to preach. He'll be preaching this Sunday as well. He preached a message last week, and I hadn't even heard it, but I do know the gist of it. Where he talked about the places that were mentioned. And it's funny, those places all had significance. They had great significance in their meaning. You know, Saul took the people to Michmash, which was a hidden place, okay? And old Mason talked about we Christians got no business staying in the hidden place. You stay in the hidden place, you don't be light in the dark world, and it ain't long, the enemy will show up where you're at. You keep things hidden, and boy, I'm telling you, it won't be long, old devil will sneak into them little corners of your life, and that's what the Philistines did, and it pushed them out, right? They needed to be headed up to Bethel, to the house of the Lord, and but they was stuck. They were hiding from the enemy, and you know, that happens in life. We hide in church. Our churches hide. We're trying to hide from a society. We're trying to fit in, you know. We're hoping they don't notice us too much. And we're not called to not be noticed. Look at Jesus' life. Everything he ever did, he did right in the wide open. Jesus is the most confrontational human being that ever lived. And you know, you say, well, we don't want to be confrontational. No, we don't want to be mean-spirited when we're confrontational. But, you know, the light confronts the dark. It can't help it. It's in its nature. Jesus walked into a world of lies telling the truth. Guess what happened? The world of lies was confronted with truth. And we can't relegate ourselves to the hidden place. We either do it out of one or two reasons. One is fear, and the other sin. We're either wanting to hide, and that's the number one reason. Fear can be there, it can be real, but in our society, our fear is just is trivial. Them Afghani Christians are the ones that right now are dealing with the real thing. If you follow me along. But Mason preached that message about moving from that hidden place out into that open place. And boy, I think it was a good word. And I would really encourage you, because you said, Brett, I thought you hadn't heard it. Well, I heard it from him. I get the abbreviated version. You know, I'm dad, so I can say, okay, all right, I got that. Move on, move on, move on. Some of y'all wish you could do that to me in church, don't you? All right, Brother Todd, I got that. All right, now move on, move on, move on. But anyway, there's going to be some really good preaching. Talking about that too. Old Dalton Blazek preached for me on Wednesday night, did a great job. I know what he was preaching on. I asked him, man, tell me what you're going to be giving them. And boy, I think he brought a good word out of Daniel. And also, just a shout out here to OD, he's going to be preaching for me at Street Church this week because I obviously can't go. But once a month, I go up to Dallas International Street Church on the second Friday night every month. And boy, it'd be a good thing to do if you'd like to do it. You can always pray for us. If you can't come, make a little food, bring it up there to the church for 5:30, and we give it to them folks. We preach it. We pull them out straight off the streets, man. They do a great job up there. And Dalton's going to be preaching for me then. And so y'all pray for him. Pray for Street Church. If you can go, you get to the church for 5:30, somebody will be there with you. Now, don't bring little kids. Don't bring little kids. Now, it's a good thing for teenagers to do, but you need to have them there with you. It's a real safe deal, as safe as South Dallas can be. The good Lord will protect you and walk with you, but we do a great, I say we do, God does some great things in some people, and our people do a wonderful job. And that church has been up there for years getting it done. And be praying for them, be praying for church. All right, go back over it again. Good intentions. If you do get the COVID now, be sure and follow some pretty good advice. Try to follow best medical advice. Bad excuses. Let's don't look for convenient reasons not to assemble ourselves together. Bring somebody to church with you this Sunday. Lots of times when the cat's away, the mice play. But boy, you're just stealing yourself a blessing. You're taking a blessing, stealing it right out of your own hands. Don't miss church this week. And catch that good preaching. Look for that good word. You know, you can always go back online and go back through the archives. There's some things in there. In fact, I'm going to start doing a deal called kind of a top 10 deal where I go back over some ones that we put out in the past that really seem to help people. And so we're going to be putting one of them out. We did one on grief I did here 3 weeks ago. Still getting a lot of feedback on it. I'm going to re-release it. But anyway, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for all your prayers. And I think if y'all don't get too hot. See, good thing about these tractors nowadays, they got air conditioners now. So hopefully I won't get too fatigued. And I think I'm going to go quarantine myself out in the field. All right, love you guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.